Okay, squirrels. This is a squirrel hole. Pretty self-explanatory there. You can see where they've been dug out once already. Okay, but I'm just trying to give you an example of how a dirt hole set will work. Let me back up on this. Okay, just like that. Basically a dirt hole. Squirrels have other ways of getting in, but this is my best example. You can see where they're going to... The only way into this, if you wanted to get in there, or pull something out of there, you got to go through this channel to get in there. Okay? And we would plant our trap in here, so when if a coyote was going to come in, or raccoon, or whatever is going to deal with this, we put some bait in there. He's got to go into this channel. He's not going to come in from behind or from the side. We're forcing him in this way. Okay, we're targeting his entry. And this is just one example of what they call a set. This is a dirt hole set. Now, we don't always have squirrel holes like this hanging around to use. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one. That way we don't have to sit here and find these things. We can build one ourselves. In another next video or next part of this, I'll show you how we build a dirt hole set where we put the trap. So give you an idea how the mentality behind setting these things and how they operate. So anyway, this is an example of a dirt hole set that we're going to use. And as you can see, let's see if you get the side angle. I don't know if that'll work. Basically, the predator is going to come in this side to go into that hole to pick the bait, squirrel, whatever's in there. So we're going to use this to our advantage. Okay, now this was a flat piece of ground. I basically dug a hole like this, trying to duplicate that squirrel hole that we had. But basically, I cut out a funnel. Basically, do it this way. This direction and this direction. It looks like a dog was here digging this thing out. You see all the dirt's thrown back this way. One thing I found, especially with coyotes and such, is they can't stand the fact that someone else was doing this thing. It might be another coyote, and they're thinking, hey, they're gonna see this pile over here, the fact that this thing was dug out, and they can't pass that out. They got to come check this out because they usually think someone else put someone here. And but anyhow, you see how we try to duplicate the hole. I don't have my pipe with me. I had to use a little crowbar thing and just stick a little hole in there. It goes nowhere because this is flat ground. This is not a squirrel hole. We're just trying to duplicate that effect. Now I'll go ahead and set the trap in and show you what that looks like. Okay, kind of a half-assed example here, but you get the gist of it. I'm skipping some steps here, but there's some finer points, but we don't need to get into that. I'm just kind of giving you an overview or an idea. Basically what I've done is I've carved out a hole here. We got the hole inside of there. Normally this would be set. This is not set right now because I don't get my hand in it or my dog in it. Now what you do is this thing would be out of the way at this point, but you see that little black thing right here? That's a feather. That's a chicken feather. I don't know what it is as far as coyotes and the raccoons. That just makes them nuts. It's kind of half buried in that hole. It looks like someone buried a chicken or a whole chicken or a piece of chicken in there. And that they can't resist for whatever reason. I've got a view here just like that. Now what you do, the way this thing's dug out is it slopes down into that, channels down into that bait right there, into that feather. So what we don't want is to make it where the coyote or the raccoon is going to come back here and get down into it. So you'll do things like either boulders, more dirt back here. And what they'll do is they see it as a funnel. They may come in from back here and sniff it, but when he wants to get his hand down in there to investigate and dig around on this feather, he's going to come back around this way and just head right into this funnel. And especially because just the way it's set up, it's real inviting like that. Typically put that feather in there a little bit deeper. So if I had that feather or it's just a little deeper in there, he's not going to deal with it from back here. He's going to come back around and he's going to lead with his nose and come back in this way to get to it. So I've got the channel effect there. Now what he's going to have to do is he's going to be walking around in here to get to that, or he's going to be pawing through this to get to that. And so then I position my trap in such a way, like so. Once again, that's not set. When it's set, it's very flat. This will be staked in, usually below it. Then once this is set, I put this as close as I can to that point. And you got to kind of figure, maybe not too close, but wherever he's going to step before he gets to it. Because if you just think about it, you're wanting to get over here. So first thing he's doing is going to kneel down. He's going to put a foot here, maybe, and then here. He's going to hit this thing. You almost can't miss. So what we do is we got our bait, got it in position. We've got him channelized in here. This is my trap. This is when he's going to end up hitting this pan here to set this thing off. But now if he sees that, he might pick up on it. Plus there's scent issues and stuff like that, but we're not going to get into that. So typically you'll see something like this. It'll have a piece of wax paper over the top of it. And then it's covered just like that. So real simple. And you'll still see there's a feather there. And so what you got to consider is, doesn't look that, I mean the average person look at that and say, well I can see that's not a big deal. But a coyote, what he sees, mostly with his nose, is he'll look back at this and he'll see something's been dug. Something's been digging over here. Okay? Now a coyote is basically a thief. That's his plan. He is a thief. He could have a piece of food in his mouth, a quail, something. He's going back to his lair. Cruising along, he sees this thing. Then he notices, uh-oh, a feather. He can't resist putting down his catch and coming and digging this out to steal this thing from his counterpart, his other coyote, because he's a thief. He can't help it. So it's these little setups where it looks like somebody else was here, digging, searching, doing whatever, and probably hid what their kill is. You know, another coyote hid his thing here, and this coyote's looking at it saying, "Oh, hey man, I'm going to snatch that up too, take that home as well." So by his own greed, he comes sees this thing, comes getting in position here. Boom! Now he's got. This is just real basic. There's some finer points here that I didn't explain, but you get a better picture of this. But this is what they would call a dirt hole set. Looks like your dog's been digging in the backyard, but there's something, you place something down in here to get the other canine involved. Raccoons fall for this all the time. That's what I've used it for. Now I've never been able to use these type of traps here. As California, they're not legal. But just to practice this, because I wanted to know how to do it, is I would use a mouse trap, or in some cases a rat trap. They're a little bit too big. But you take a mouse trap, and when that thing slams down, you bend that part back. So you can set it, it'll go off, trigger it, but it won't close down on anything. And so if you got a coyote, raccoon, basically it just freaks them out. They, you know, it doesn't trap them. So you're not illegally trapping, but it gives you an opportunity just to test to see how something like this works. So this is a dirt hole set, one of many different sets. I'll have a link down below that'll show you some real basic sets if you choose to look into something like this. And there's tons of this on YouTube, just tons of it. A million ways to do this. But anyhow, hopefully this showed you some option of another way of getting some meat. Like I said, I'll show you the link down below. Check it out. Any questions, let me know. Have a good one.